Hello everyone. Today we're going to show you how to take this collar apart and make a pocket for a collar stay that it's removable. As you can see, this is what the collars look like inside. Collar stay look like inside. It's stitched, and we're going to take those stitches off and remove this collar. Okay, so now since we have this back collar opened up, let's try it with a piece of fabric underneath and see how it goes. We're gonna do this, but first I need to, oh no, let's do it this way, it's easier. So once we get this part here, I'm just gonna take 1.5 inches from the bottom here, mark it up from here to this point, 1.5 inches, and it's about 1 inch from the end of the back fabric that it's gonna be, and then we're gonna fold this thing, the back of the collar, between the 2 points right there. You can actually press it if you want to. So right there. Okay, and then what next is gonna be, we're just gonna draw the straight line from this corner here. This is the middle of the collar stays where it's gonna be, and let's look for a collar stays here. So we'll just pick one just to try it out. We're gonna insert this like so. But to have a pocket, we're gonna stitch here and here, here along this line and here, and then we're gonna put the collar back on. Okay, so let's go to let's pin this together here so it'll stay. So we can go to the other one and prepare the other side. So okay, so this is the other side. You get the back of the collar. The piece of fabric that it's cut this side and the top same as this, and about 4.5 to 5 inches long. And like on the other side, we move mark 1.5 inches from the bottom of the collar up, and I said about 1 inch from the bottom of the end of this fabric under. Right, so well, you might want to put a notch, not necessarily, but let's do it for people that wants to do it this way. Take the back of the collar, folded it up between the marks. You can put pressing job on it, cool it off, make sure this at the top it's similar, diagonal line from the corner or the point of that where the collar stays gonna go in like so, and we're gonna stitch it. If you want to, you can just put the collar stay like this and line up, mark it up where the stitch is gonna be. So you can do that too if you want to. So you stitch on the side of that. Let's put a pin here to hold it in place, and we go to the sewing machine now to stitch it up. So now, since we're here at the sewing machine, let's make the stitches for the pocket. Okay, I already have the black thread inside to match the fabric that we have. This is very dark navy blue, almost black, and the closest thread to this I found to be black. Okay, and we're gonna start here on the side of that mark and make the outside stitch for the pocket of the collar stay, and then stitch on this side and stop here at the end with the needle inside so we can move the fabric. Okay, and come all the way down here. So as you can see, this is the pocket right here. You can put the, you know, we'll get to the rest of it in a minute, but let's do the other side. The other side is the same way, except we start on the other side. So I'm aligning here the top of the fabrics and start here, reinforce the seam, and this one I mark where to sew. Take the pin out so I don't sew through it. So cut this part off, and okay. Trim the threads. Okay. Put the both fabrics facing each other. I'm just gonna use the front of the collar, which is got and at the back of it is the interfacing that you see. Clean up some of these threads a little bit better, and we stitch back to the same stitches that they were on before. Okay, come back here, make sure the top of these two fabrics are pretty much aligned. If not, then we're gonna trim the excess fabric. And we meet with this old seam here. Trim the fabric, and definitely trim as close as you can when you get to the point, because turning over the point, we're gonna have a nice sharp point, and if it's too much fabric, that point is not gonna be as sharp, as pointy, let's put it this way. So I'm using the back of the seam ripper. Still careful, but not to rip the fabric or slip and cut it, and then we ruin the whole color. That looks almost good right there. Alright, and this is the pocket here, and let's do the other side. That looks good right there. We're ready to put a top stitch on, but before we do that, let me look for a collar stay here to try to see how it works. As you can see here, the collar stay slides in good deep inside there. I'm gonna pull this corner a little bit more if I could. There you go, a little bit more. So this collar stay got in a little bit deeper, because the stitch is gonna come right here. Oops. The stitch is gonna come right here, and we don't want to stitch through it because this needs to be accessible. Alright, so I think I pulled a little bit more of these corners out without ripping them off, and let's try this collar stay here on this side, this new pocket that we just made. Yeah, it's nice and easy. Okay, now we're gonna put the top stitch back on here. Normally you might want to baste it or press it into shape, you know, so it'll be easier. But since this has already been stitched, I can kind of like follow the same top stitch that I had before. Okay, come on over here. Okay, one more, put it in here, turn this around, and the top stitch. Alright, so we're almost done with this top stitch here. Okay, turn it around while holding the needle inside the fabric so it doesn't move. Reinforce the seam, trim this, and here it is. The collar done with the top stitch on. And so now, since we done this part here, we're gonna come back to the shirt and just check and see that everything is cleaned up, all the loose threads here. And basically what we're gonna do next, it's take this collar and put it back in the shirt. Taking the shirt like that, put it in here, and what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna baste back this, and we'll get back and show you how we'll stitch it back. So now what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna baste the collar back into the collar band on the shirt, and then put a top stitch on top, and we are done. Some of you might want to just put pins. I just prefer to baste. It's easier so through. Don't break the machine needle. So yeah, to me it's. So we get over here. I just took the basting thread out after I stitched it on the machine. So I'm gonna touch it up a little bit with the iron, mainly to get those chalk marks off. And I'm pressing on the back of the shirt. And let's try out the pocket that we just made here, the collar stay, and here on this side.